Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Diabolical Chronolog, and I am back with my thoughts of the new Arbites class in Darktide. So, we've got our first new DLC class, which is the Adeptus Arbites, wherein you play an arbitrator. That is how it's pronounced. Arbites for the association, arbitrator for the actual individuals. With this update comes a few new weapons. The Shock Maul and Suppression Shield is a melee weapon unique to the Arbites class. The Exterminator Shotgun and the Subductor Shot Pistol and Riot Shield are also unique to this class. All of these options are pretty solid, honestly. The Shock Maul and Suppression Shield is unparalleled defensive ability with good crowd control and crowd coverage, and it's pretty good for advancing into a gun line with its special ability that stuns close nearby enemies and suppresses enemies in a much farther radius in a cone in front of you. The Exterminator Shotgun has two mags, one of which has a duckbill that fires its pellets in a wide, flat spread, good for taking out heads and crowd controlling. And the other fires it in a much tighter spread, good for counter-sniping, dealing with gunners dealing high single target damage. The duck-built one has the ability to load it with stunning ammo. It has a higher capacity of 6 in the magazine by default, whereas the other mark of the Exterminator Shotgun has a special ammo that applies brittleness to a target when struck with it. That has a tighter choke for better deletion of single targets. The Subductor Shot Pistol and Riot Shield has one mark. The Shot Pistol fires in a fairly tight spread and is good for dealing with shooters and specials elites. It's not quite at the same tier as the Revolver for deleting shite, but it does come close and is just a solid option, and has the added benefit of being able to block raised fire when you hold a position, block fire and return fire safely. The special with it is a shield bash that is pretty helpful for just getting chaff off of you. That's the most I can say for it. Really, it's very good defensively. It lets you block melee and just line up your shots for ranged. But, it's not as much of a just quick draw and delete as the Zorro Stub Revolver. It is, however, still quite solid. Important to note, one of the blessings on it. Let's see. Wait, is it? Pinpoint and target. This is not currently functional. I have successfully cleared mid-level Hammond's widget, with this blessing not being working. At present, it does stack up, but it does not give you the 8% strength per stack. It does nothing. So, if you are running this weapon, I would say swap that out for something like No Respite. Probably. Full bore, very good. It has a tight spread, very easy to proc. My suggestion would be full bore on No Respite. Could do Mass Stopper's not the best option for it, but it's not bad. You won't be firing it while sprinting very often, I would imagine, but the tighter spread can let it hit some very silly damage numbers. We also got the Arbites Shock Maul. I forgot about that one. It is a fine parallel to the normal Shock Maul. It attacks prime targets and their special activates it to properly stun them. Okay, I think that mostly covers weapons. I really like the Shock Maul and Suppression Shield. I think it's the big winner. As some people say, it's not the best option for the class. I think that if you are playing as a babysitter or doing havoc, it gives you the most of a safety net. Because you can just block shite for fucking ever, and it lets you block against ranged, so you can just foreign cover for your team. it just makes it very easy and very safe to exist. The Crusher is also very good. If you are going for a more damage-focused build, either the Crusher, or the Shock Maul, or the Arbites Shock Maul, or the Tactical Axe, which just got buffed. You've got options for melee. None of them are finesse weapons, really. Closest you get to finesse is the Chainsword. Or the Tactical Axe, I guess. But the Arbites is not a finesse class. You will not find a dagger, you will not find a dueling sword here. Make up for that by just sheer brutality and cap control. Which I think all the weapons do pretty well. Likewise, you will find no las weaponry here. It is all ballistics. Which suits the class very well, for reasons that we will get into shortly. Hello, Lewis. Welcome to the stream. I am recording a short video for YouTube where I yap about the Arbites. So, talent tree. First thing I want to say, I really like the talent tree design. You have web of options that mostly interconnect. Few stat nodes here that have a central one that let you just pick what you want to go afterwards. The central one is the one that you really care about. Go from stat reduction. Then you can take either ace damage or melee damage, if that's what you want. And you aren't tied into a specific blitz by your talents, nor vice versa. For your blitzes, remote detonation. You cause an exploit at your Cybermassive's location, stab and electrocute enemies, 3 charges, 60-second cooldown. This is really fucking good. It will stagger anything that is not CCME up. So, monstrosities? If your hound is nearby and you use remote detonation, it will stagger them, guaranteed. Second option, we'll take Shock Might. You throw a Shock Might that activates as it wands, and then for 15 seconds it will electrocute all enemies within 3 meters. This is good. It is basically a half of a Smite Psyker in your pocket that you place at a location and say, alright, zap any feckers that come by here. Very good. You get 2 charges by default. So you do have to be a bit spared with them unless you're running a thing from farther down. But it is very good. It is pretty much a win this engagement button or hold this location without a player there. Arbites Grenade. It is an impact grenade. Does significant damage to the initial target. Does full off damage to everything else around it, and that's it. 4 grenades max. It's pretty quick to throw. About the same as like the incendiary grenade for the Zealot. But it is just solid. It staggers the fuck out of most things. Haven't tested it against monstrosities, but it is pretty solid. My advice is to treat it like an ogre and rock, where you're not throwing this like a veteran grenade where you're trying to maximize coverage and, you know, apply a bunch of bleed to everything. No, you pick a fecker in particular that you say, I don't like you, and chuck this rock at their head. You go from your blitzes to single point and that spreads back out, with a lot of interconnection between them. Very good. This is good tree design. Auras. Part of the squad is Cybermassive comes with chain of coherency. This lets you go above for coherency. It also makes it very easy to maintain coherency. The chances are either you or your hound are near someone, or one of you will be next to, well, you'll either be next to each other, or one of you will be near someone, or you're handily off stacking something up while you're near your team still. It also gives you an extra 7.5 toughness damage reduction, which is just a nice little buff. Is it as impactful as Beneficence? No. Benediction? Benediction on the Zealot? No. But it's good, and it stacks with it. Ruthless Efficiency. 7.5% reload speed. That's good. The Arbites likes the bolter. This makes the bolter better. The Arbites likes shotguns. This makes shotguns better. It's just good. Breaking the set. Unallies and coherency deal an additional 10% damage versus staggered. It rates up anything that you're fighting, pretty much. You get an extra 10% damage races. Special note, talent that makes this tree function. Concussive. Melee spot hits make the enemy counter stagger for 4 seconds. Whether they stagger or not, if you hit them in the fucking head, or the big boil on the back of a beast in Narble, they count as staggered for 4 seconds. So anything that relies on enemies being staggered, like hitting the fire or their talents in the tree, for 4 seconds it's active. Which means that this gives you 10% bonus dodge races up. Single point. That is just more toughness. Good. Web. Single point. Web. Good tree design. I hope that when they rework Exalt and Veteran, this is the template they use. So, first of your 3 keystone options, you have Unleash Brutality. This makes you Cybermastiff, stick around you in about a 60-meter radius, and prioritize elites and specialists, and gives it bonus dodge hints them. This is good. Ragers, Crushers, Trappers, enemy howls, any elites or specials that are within 60 meters of you, your Cybermastiff will pounce them, aggressively ignoring other enemies. Go get them. This increases your Cybermastiff's acro range to 43 meters, and it will prioritize shooters. Shooters, gunners, and snipers. You will also deal an extra 60% damage to them. That's pretty good. It lets you just have the dog running around killing trash shooters and gunners. Lone Wolf. You decide, alright, I want to play John Wick. They killed my Cybermastiff Daisy. No, I'm not for revenge. You are no longer you are no longer accompanied by a Cybermastiff. You gained 15% toughness down for option, 10% attack speed, 10% damage, an extra charge on your blitz, and you replace the charge of your blitz adult every 60 seconds. As all the fucking stats. So, hello Georgia, thank you for the resub. At Twitch baby as a boy. Lovely. Gonna be boy moms. Alright, so, this role disables your hound, meaning you can't take any houndroid to towns, so no remote detonation, no he'll take mandibles, no canine morale, none of that shit, but you get a sec ton of stats in return for it. The biggest part of this, honestly, is not the stat gain, it's the extra charge on the blitz, the ability to replenish a charge of your blitz ability every 60 seconds. Which means, if we come back up here to the voltaic shot line, for 15 seconds out of every 60 seconds, you can have the map turned off. You get one of these bad boys back every 60 seconds, you can just shot these feckers wherever you want, and it will hold that location and win your engagements. If you're running in Lone Wolf, I highly recommend you take the voltaic shot line. Having 5 Arbites grenades, it's also very good, as it is just a good whip this shit out and stagger fuckers, and kill some of them. But this is the one that'll probably win you the most games. Hello Elite Good Time Zone to you too. I am yapping and recording a short video about the new class. Additionally, you don't have to take any of these keystones. You can also just take 25% cleave or 25% impact. So you can either spend 2 points here or 1 point if you just want to get through. Very good tree design. From there, you have your 3 abilities. Castigator stats. You become Tim. You enter the Castigator stats for 10 seconds, during which you have 15% movement speed increased, 80% reduced dodge taken, 100% reduced movement speed penalty from actions, but you can't sprint. Non-activation your flash hold toughness. So basically, you become a Hispanic mom, pull out the chancla, and you begin to advance. You will not be stopped for 10 seconds. Most 10 seconds are up, you may go up like a fucking balloon. But for those 10 seconds, you are untouchable and very quick. Bit of execution, and during the start, each elite specialist kills gives up to 50% damage, 5% damage per stack. Rage skills replenish up to 10% of the total ammo in your clip from your reserve, rounded up. 2.5 cooldown, you can proc that. I believe 6 times? I think you can proc that 6 times per Essence of Castigators? No. Like 5 times. 4.5 times. At Doom Castigator stats, your Cyber Mastiff has bonus damage. That's just plain. This is good. It synergizes very much with the Bolter and Shotguns. That's mostly what it synergizes with. And it does very good for that. Nuncio Aquila. All allies, you deploy a Nuncio Aquila in the target direction. Allies within 7.5 meters replenish 7.5% toughness per second. Gain 30% suppression dealt and 30% impact, as well as being slowdown immune, suppression immune, and having 25% reduced recoil. You're also immune to interruption during alternate fire. So if you're aiming those sights, you will knock the segment out of it. Enemies within 7.5 meters have 15% damage taken increased. It lasts 20 seconds and has a 60-second cooldown. Its augments are Inspiring Recitation, which has it such that allies affected also gain 30% toughness damage reduction, which is a lot. 30% revive speed, which can be helpful if someone does go down, and 2% attack speed. That's just a nice stat buff. And then for your Justice, this is one that I wouldn't recommend taking as much. The time between affected enemies' melee attacks is increased by 30%, and their melee attacks deal 25% less damage. The 25% less damage is the part you would care about here, because that could be the difference between taking chip damage and your toughness regenerating from the effect fast enough that you just get back to full toughness and can take a second hit. Third ability, Break the Line. Step forward and bash, causing hide stagger to enemies in front of you and gain 25% damage and 30% impact for 6 seconds. Base cooldown of 20 fucking seconds. This shit is spammable. If you thought Zealot Charge, Fear of the Faithful, was spammable, which, like, crit cooldown and such, it ain't got nothing on this. You will be knocking feckers over on repeat. Especially when you factor in that for each hit, increased to 1 on elite specialist or monstrosity, 5 max cooldown restored, you can get it down to, alright, you charge 3 some feckers and hit an elite or specialist. As long as you hit, 10 chaff enemies or like 4 chaff enemies and 3 elites, like a pack of ragers or some shit, you'll get 5 seconds back, so that gets it down to 15. You replenish toughness for each elite specialist or monstrosity hit, and restore stamina. Up to full toughness and 35% stamina, which is a lot. Engage lets you increase celerity, or the distance for it. And Kill Order gives your Cybermassive plus 50% damage for 12 seconds after you use it, with cooldown modifiers on your QDLs. You can pretty much get it down to a 12-second cooldown if you optimize your refund from targeted brutality. So, you can pretty much have 100% uptime on an extra 50% damage for your Cybermastiff, which is really second good. Down here to the rest of the tree, just want to point out a few things. Street Smart's very helpful. It makes your dodges just better and gives you an extra 1. Poetry Endowment gives you extra ammo in your clip rounded up. So this turns a double barrel shotgun into a triple barrel shotgun. And it takes a bolter from, I think, 16 to 18? Don't remember the base max capacity for the bolter, but it gives you a couple extra rounds. Actually, let me take that off. It takes you from 15 to 18 shots, which, an extra 3 bolter shells in the magazine, is significant. Crotch in they're a breather. Tire shaker oxygen resistance and 75% reduced tire shaker from toxic gas. And you see toxic gas and toxic bombers in your Havoc mission. You put 1 talent point in this. Over here, you've pretty much got the veteran cooldown ability words. If you kill an elite specialist, your next reload is 20% faster. It's just solid. Keystones down here, execution orders. It does like a Psyker Defy Destiny, max elite specialists and bosses. When you kill them, you get 50% toughness. And your Sire Massive attacks one, it gets 150% dodge for 8 seconds. And you get 13% dodge and 10% attack speed after killing a marked enemy. This is good. This is pretty much priority targets, so gunners, trappers. Any elite, any specialist, any boss can be marked. They'll be outlined with a bluish-purple glowy bit. This also gives you wall hacks because it will track them through walls, much like Defy Destiny on Psyker. Very strong, very good. On marked kill, gain 10% crit chance and 25% crit damage. This is just good if you're going for a crit don't. With like shotguns and stuff, with scatter shot, or something like that. This is good. Take this. 50% cooldown regeneration for 8 seconds after marked kill. This is good. This really helps the cascaded stance on the Nuncio Aquila. Just helps you get it back quicker by killing the fecus that you already wanted dead. Good design. I think this is a better designed version of like the veteran's cooldown ability where you get 6 seconds flat back on a Ouija specialist skill. This just speeds up your cooldown regeneration for 8 seconds, which is, I think, more impactful. Depends on the ability. I think it's the most impactful for Nuncio Aquila since it has the longest cooldown. No lenience. 30% rending for 8 seconds after a marked kill. That's fine. You got other better, easier sources of rending in your tree, but that's fine. If you're going all in on it, unlike, 20% rending on ranged crit, 10% rending there, crit chance there, I'd say either take these two in conjunction with that, or just don't take either of those two. That one you could actually justify taking. This one's the one you drop first, I think. Keeping protocol. Killing back 10 grants 1% damage versus monstrosities and 1% damage resistance versus monstrosities, up to 30 stacks. This lasts until the end of the mission or until you die. 30% damage resistance and 30% bonus in damage, independent of anything else, versus monstrosities is a lot. That's very good, especially for Havoc, because you'll stack it up very quickly. Chances are by the time the first monstrosity spawns, you'll probably have 50 stacks or more. Which is a significant damage increase for being dedicated to that. Very good. Not far behind. 10% movement speed and 10% dodge 5 seconds after a bolt. Just some nice added mobility, nice little bit of extra damage. You can have your Mastiff pouncing a lot. They are very proactive, very aggressive. This will be active most of the match. Honorable mention Overseer, Monstrosity Hunter. 20% dodge organ the monstrosities. No questions asked, 20% damage. That for that. Meaning that for monstrosities, you get an extra 50% dodge once it's fully stacked up. This is your only real dodge bonus versus monstrosities aside from, like, concussive making them count as staggered and then you do stuff like, where is it? Any staggered by your melee attacks take 15% more melee damage, and 15% melee wounding on staggered enemies. That's good. This is just 50% flat damage, or 50% damage multiplier for monstrosities. Just very solid. Central Keystone, Terminus Warrant. Range attacks grant a stack of melee justice. Melee hits remove 1 stack. All you have stacks of melee justice you gain. Bleh. 15% melee damage, 35% melee impact. Good stats for this class. Just get more damage, more stagger. It's solid. Melee hits grant stacks of range justice, up to 30 stacks. Ranged attacks remove 1 stack for each enemy hit, so cleaving and over-penetrating will remove multiple stacks. While you have stacks, you gain 2% range damage, 30% range cleave, and plus 32% suppression. It's good. This wants you to be swapping weapons back and forth, probably swapping between something that bludgeons feckers, which is most of your melee weapons, and shotguns. Just because the bolter is so slow to draw, you'll probably get more value out of shotguns with the cleave, especially with something like Scattershot that lets you get a bunch of crit chance in exchange for it. But, you know, that's my thoughts on it. Dispense Justice. When you have stacks of bait justice, you get 20% bonus reload speed. As long as you have killed a fecker. No. As long as you have hit a fecker, then you have 30% faster reload speed. That's pretty good. While you have stacks of melee justice, as all you have shot some fucker, you gain an additional 100% melee toughness regeneration, which means that every melee kill will regenerate 10% of your max toughness instead of 5%. And allies and cohorts you replenish 25% of any toughness that you replenish. So this lets you kind of turn into 8 of the battery for your allies. Swapping your melee weapon while you have 16 melee justice stacks or more grants you 15% attack speed until you're on out stacks or until you swap back to your ranged. Swapping to your ranged weapon while you have 15% range justice stacks or more grants you 15% fire rate until you're on hour stacks or swap to your melee. So pretty much you want to get about 15 stacks for one, swap and then try to get about 15 stacks for the other, and then try to ping pong back and forth while staying above 15 stacks. So like swap to melee, smack, 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 swap by, smack them up, and then shoot them a bit. Last one, you're at a judgment. When you're at max stacks, swap into melee, cost you 15% melee running until you run out, or swap back. And swapping to your range, while max stacks grants you 25% crit strike damage and 25% weak spot damage until you run out, or swap back. All these are pretty solid. I feel this is the weakest of the keystones. And you'll see why in a second. Forceful. Sirens and blocked attacks grant a stack of Forceful. Up to 10 stacks, each lasts 5 seconds. They fall off individually. Each stack grants 5% impact and 2.5% of the damage resistance. Remove stack on damage taken. This seems to be damage taken to health, not damage taken to toughness. Also, blocking range hits with your shield does count for this. Also, your shields on both the shot pistol and the suppression shield and shock maul can block anything. You can block overheads, and crushers and maulers. You can block anything as long as you're facing it. So, that's what the Forceful Keystone gives you. All at max stacks and for 3/6 upwards gain stun immunity. Additionally, your perfect blocks can block all attacks. This lets you use any weapon, whether it's a shield or not, to block crushes, as long as you time your block correctly. You have to perfect block it, but you can block it. If you're running the shield, you don't need this. Replenish 0.5% of toughness each second per stack. This scales up to 10 stacks, 5% toughness per second. That's a lot. Can it block depression? I'd say so, because you get to pet your dog. And that will help a lot. How gets acquired? While at max attack for 3 seconds afterwards, gain 10% attack speed and 30% cleave. If you're going melee, especially with a shield, take this. It's just good. 10% attack speed and 50% cleave? Fuck yeah. Also, that 50% cleave is not purely melee, that is all cleave. So if you want to be bulking focus in melee, then whip out our double barrel shotgun and shoot into the next map, you can. It's very funny. I highly recommend it. So, Arbites Vigilant. On combat ability, gain 22.5% strength for each stack. Past 10 seconds, removes all stacks. Obviously, that stacks up to 10 times. So, you can get 25% strength. That is damage, cleave, and stagger. Very good. Basically, this lets you spend your stacks to get a fuck ton of more stats. Stacks for stats. Very nice, very solid. Highly recommend it, especially if you're running that. And then Judicial Force. Stagger nearby enemies upon reaching 0 stacks or 10 stacks. 5-second cooldown for each. This is okay. I find that when you're running this keystone, you're probably going to be staggering feckers left and right anyways. But if you want some more stagger to go with your stagger and your other staggered, you can take this. Yeah. So, notable talents. 10% attack speed for hitting 3 feckers. It's good. 10% dodge and move speed on elite specialist skill. Also good. 50% range dodge after reloaded. Geared towards shotguns, obviously. But still pretty feckin' solid. 10% toughness on stagger melee attack. This, procs off of this, meaning that anytime you hit a fecker in the head, you get 0% toughness back, whether you kill him or not. Very fucking good. This is fine. I use it a lot because I like the shield. I don't have it in this build, but I do use it. 50% reduced block cost on per block gain. 15% dodge and 10% attack speed for 8 seconds. Very solid. On block, replace your 10% toughness over 3 seconds. On perfect block, instantly replenish Shinsec. 10% toughness. 1 second cooldown. It lets you turn gunners into toughness batteries, where you spend a little bit of stamina for a whole lot of toughness. This does not stack, but it does refresh. Raise the draw augment. When your hound pounces through things, it applies a stack of bleach to them, so must be used for helping soften up chaff. It's okay. Target neutralize. Veterans fucking kill confirmed. Light. You get 10% toughness back immediately, 10% toughness over 4 seconds. That translates to, what, 2.5% toughness per second for 4 seconds? Right. That is how that shakes out. Much like kill confirmed, the stacks infinitely. If you are focusing on shooting down elites of snipers with either a shotgun or a revolver, or a bolter, or a bolt pistol, this will be very good. Of course, 5% toughness on close kill. Raise 10 melee. So if there's a pack of 12 Ragers, and you're unload onto them with a double barrel shotgun and just wipe all of them, each one of them will give you 5% toughness. But if you are killing feckers in melee, those count as close kills. This just makes every melee kill you get 10% toughness. If you're staggering them as well with this and this, that is 20% toughness for melee kill. Which is nuts. Man, it's Cybermastiff. 5% toughness per second while within 8 meters of your Cybermastiff. You sitting close to your hound? Is it pretty good? Yeah. It's fine. A little bit inconsistent because, yeah, you're probably going to be sicking your hound on feckers off in the distance at times, but when it's active, it's good. Walk off. Spending stamina replenishes 15% toughness over 3 seconds, so 5% per second. It's pretty solid. If you are blocking or pushing, it just gives you a little bit more toughness economy, which this class doesn't lack it. A low trigger kind of cuts in the tail end, but, you know, That's okay. You Cybermassive electrocutes enemies it attacks. This is a full electrocute stun. The switch your Cybermassive lockdown Ogrins. Going past targets grants all allies incoherency, 3% toughness stats reduction, and 2% toughness per second for 5 seconds. It's pretty good. Actually, am I set everything that I wanted to point out? This is just some team support. This is very good utility. Any other significant honorable mentions? A traded mod sword just increases your damage for your Cybermastiff. I think that's all of the substantial ones. So, tagging that crusher. He does his shaky dance and take through bit. He tick damage. It takes, that's what, 3, 4, and then he dies. So that gets a crusher to a 4 pounds kill for Ripper Shield. He will also, as you will soon see, pounce through feckers and knock them over. They are very aggressive and will pounce almost immediately as soon as they have a line of sight. And they can go real feckin' far. They can be very disruptive, especially to Rager packs. Because it pumps through, knock all of them down, and rip one of them to shreds. Very, very good. Where's Abelard? I mean, I saw in Arbites named Theodora that had named their Cybermastiff Abelard, so that's the answer. Your Cybermastiff is your pocket Abelard in this game, pretty much. My thoughts on this quest so far pretty much boil down to it is sturdy as fuck, it is steady as fuck, and it staggers the ever-loving fuck out of most everything. What a fucking... Just, it is very fucking good. It is very strong. And this is about the power level. And like, especially with the tree design, this is how I want them to design the other classes, any new classes they add, and the other classes when they get reworked. I think Zelda is next on the docket, which is fair. I think a veteran should be after that. In my opinion, a veteran should be first, just because they're being held up on life support. That life support being grenade spam and plasma gun and dueling sword. But this class is incredibly durable. It's very good at holding feckers down. It's very sturdy. There can be fucking 15 gunners, and if you're using the shield and shock mole or cascade shots, you can just advance at them. They cannot do anything to stop you. You can get close. You just have a lot of options. You can select this class for most any situation you would run into and do solid. Shit hits the fan, but Demon Host breaks up. If it's aggroed on you, you can harken back to the classic Organ strategy of shield up in a corner and just hold it there. I was playing a Havoc the other day. Captain Spawn, Twin Spawn. Plasma Gun Captain. I just held Rodine and the Plasma Gun Captain in a corner and just held them in place and slowly just whittled their shields down while the rest of my team was dealing with the melee twin. That is just a solid option. I think it's absolutely worth the money, and I hope that the other classes take after this when they get around to doing their reworks. Do I think this class is overpowered? No. I think it's strong. I think it's good. I think this should be the target. I feel like this is the gold standard of power, versatility, and ability. It has tools in its kit for most things. And the Hound is actually really well done. It's very aggressive in game. It will cover your arse. It will run fuckers down wherever they go. It is solid and good. That is my verdict on it. And I hope that Fretchoke uses this as a template for future reworks. Future classes, depending on if and when they release another one. I think this is good. It's fucking great. Also, you get Pet the Dog. Very good. 10 out of 10. And that will be that for the video.